Okay. All right, so we're going to go through this next session and we're going to look at a multi-camera edit in Premiere Pro with Adobe. It's actually quite a really good workflow. It allows you to bring two or more cameras and see what each of them is doing at an exact point in time. Now, yesterday I was using a pluralized sequence, and so essentially what happens is I use pluralize for the latest version, and basically what it does is it allows me to line up each camera. So we'll just press tilde there, the key above the tab key, and essentially what happens is it brings in each video camera, okay, and then this is the audio from our separate audio recorder. And what happens is this obviously allows us to see the at any given time in the sequence the person here in this camera shot. If we now close that off, we can see that this is the lineup exactly in point in time. Now, one of the things that I did as well was I found a starting point in one of the clips, okay, where the girls were sort of lining themselves up if we just hide the top clip. So what I did then was highlight the clip and place a marker. Okay, so you place a marker here on the clip itself, then you highlight this clip and place a marker on the exact same point. So in this case, if we jump to the marker, so you can see we placed a marker here, a marker there, and it places a marker all through everything. What this then does is, and we do that for each clip, what this then does is allow us to create a what we call a multi-camera sequence. And the way you do that is very simply, you go into your multicam. This is, I created a bin called multicam source. I highlighted first video, which is the longer video generally. So you highlight one, then you press shift and hold the next. And what you do is go right click and go create multi-camera source from sequence. Now we're going to cancel out of this because we've done it already. But essentially it's got video clip name plus multicam on the end of that. The in points are created at those points where I had the marker. So I've marked the videos, then I can go into each video and create an in point. Once you've done that, you've actually got a perfect starting point. If you've done time code on both cameras exactly identical, you could use that. And then what happens is your sequence settings are based on camera 1, which was the first video that you selected, and then you're ready to go and click OK. So we cancel out of that and it creates a processed clips bin with the two clips that are connected to each other, and then it creates this little sequence in this area here, which I just moved it into the sequences area. So what we then have is what we have now is this. And if we open this up, now when we play, okay, what we're seeing is both videos running, and what we're seeing is this camera and this camera, and you can see the time code isn't identical, obviously. The camera time code here isn't jam synced to this camera. So that's not an issue though. We know that as we scrub through, we're seeing two cameras. If we had a third camera, it would be probably down here. If we had a fourth camera, it would be in here. And for every other camera, I'm assuming it would be further down. But essentially what's happening is as we scrub through, we're seeing exactly which of these two shots are more interesting. Now, what I've noticed is when I get some good shots of close-ups, especially of the female dancers, like this one here, we're seeing such a pretty face and such a pretty shot that we would actually jump to that camera. But what we're doing in my case is I'm sort of doing something a little bit different, in that what I do is I generally play along here And sorry, this is the wrong sequence. This is the master sequence of Pluralize. And in a future video, I'll show you how I even create this master sequence with Pluralize. But essentially, it's Pluralize from Red Giant. But what we'll do is we'll jump to the actual sequence that we're playing through. So I'll just play through some of it now, and you can see what's been happening so far. You can see I'll obviously do a camera match when the time is right. So we jump to the more interesting. So we've got that, and then we jump to I'll show you my workflow. Okay, so we've got this little, close up of the girl. Now, another thing I've noticed is it's great to cut to an action moment rather than a moment where people are standing or sort of more still. Cuts seem to work really well when the dancers are literally leaping, and as they've leaped, it's better rather than if they're sort of sitting and or more still. So that's the motivation for my cuts, I guess you can say. So we can see here, for example, when we go to cut, they've been moving up. So if we go back a few frames, you can see if we go 1, 2, 3, they're jumping, and as they leap up, I then look for that moment to cut. Or the second shot should include something very good. So obviously the hand's moving up. So looking for more interesting moments to cut. So let's look at another example, but this is a very bad place for me to now look where to create the cuts. The better place to look is to look at the time code. This is the reason why I have the time code here. This is the transparent video, which has the effects of source track video 1. So I've made it a rule that video 1 is essentially the main video that I rely on. And then the B-roll, I guess you could say, is track 2 or video 2. So this transparent video though is what's writing this camera here. So I know where I am in the timeline. And as you can see, this same time code is exactly the same as this time code there. As you can see, 226, I'll bring it up on the screen. 226.15. So this tells me which time code I'm using. Now another important thing to note as well is that the time code on this camera is not the same as this camera. More importantly, however, but that doesn't mean that but these shots are in sync. So obviously what's happening at this very moment where they're moving in, as you can see, they're moving in, right? So as we scrub backwards, so as they move forward and do their little thing, that's obviously happening there. So in other words, the two videos are in sync, but the time code isn't, okay? So that's the thing there. Having said that, we use this to tell us when to jump here. So we're using that time code, which this time code marries up with that time code. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to 2, 12, and 20. So we're going to go 2, 12, and 20. So we're going to scrub to 2, 12, and 20. Yep, that's what we're doing. So we're going to go shift, forward, and there we go. Exact same point, right? As you can see, 1, 2, and that marries up. Now what we're going to do is look at this B-roll to see when this is really good, or B, we're going to look at when this is bad. But what we're more interested in is when is this second camera, which I think was my Canon 5D, a really good shot. So that's what we're watching for. Now we're going to do a new in point, but let's just play the video and look for this moment where it gets interesting. Now I actually really like the way she's looking there. Okay, so we're looking for a moment where she's looking pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is mark an in point with I. Okay, don't like what the camera's doing there, obviously. So we're going to go back to the in point, okay, and see if we're going to go scrub 50 frames back. I've got shortcuts for all that type of stuff, but let's have a look. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so I like it when she's starting to spin, because this is actually something a little bit more dynamic. Okay, so we're going to stop. So what we're going to do is go into here, into the main clip now, go to 2 minutes, 20 seconds and 18 frames. So we're going to go 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and if we need to, we can do it like this. So 2 minutes, 20 seconds and 18 frames. We're going to mark an out point. Now we're going to go back to the in point. We can see that that is 2 minutes, 17 seconds and 14 frames. So we're going to do that. 2 minutes, 17. Okay, mark an in point. So we'll go plus so you can see what's happening. So what we're going to do now is make sure that we've got this video marked, that video marked, and then we're just going to do a slight, we'll put simply, we're going to drop this video in now. So what we do is we just press the full stop and it's dropped in exactly what we wanted. So let's have a look at what's happened. We'll go a little bit earlier. Okay, now the reason why it's not showing, let's have a look. It's even got me perplexed. Okay, it's a bit frustrating. Why isn't it showing? It's really frustrating when stuff like that happens. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on now. Okay, so we're not seeing what we need to. Well, we're certainly not seeing this second clip. So we've got to get rid of that. Okay, for some reason we're not seeing this. Ah, okay. So I've just realised what's gone wrong there. We're going to do Control Z, Control Z. Let's see if I can just Control Z. Right. The mistake was that we've got the wrong thing selected in the multicam. We actually need to select that one to drop that in. So I accidentally selected the wrong clip. So let's try that again. And this time we should see what we wanted. So it's not bad. I mean, I wish we had a better... It's not too bad. We'll leave it for now. That's looking not bad. Now, incidentally, in here, if we want to make this top clip longer, if we felt we needed to make that longer, we just grab it and drag it out. So let's just keep going. I like to save quite often, so Control S, just every so often I like to do a save. So that's always a good idea. Let's look at the next part. So what we'll do now is we'll go to about here. Okay, so 2 minutes, 20 seconds and 20. So we're going to go 2 minutes, 20 seconds and 20. And now what we're watching for, thereabouts, don't have to be exact. I mean, we can clearly see that there's nothing wrong with the clip at the moment. But basically what we're doing now is we're watching for a new in point for in here. So let's just look for it. I'm going to stay with the main shot, obviously. Now, I think there was something interesting happening there where we got an expression of one of the girls. So what we're going to do is play, find that in point, bang, and then she's smiling. So that could be definitely our in point. We're going to jump to it again. So I've got a lot of shortcuts set up on what's called a Tartarus, one of these Tartarus devices. I might as well show what it looks like, but hopefully you get an idea. One of these is what I've used, and these are all set up. They're made by Razer, but my keyboard setup is designed to have lots of shortcuts built in. That's generally what's going on there. So just in case you're wondering what's happening with the shortcuts, where are they coming from, it's from that. So let's go back to that spot. So we've got the girl looking good. One, bang, and we could stop there. So we know that our start point is going to be 2 minutes, 24 and 15. So we're going to go 2 minutes, 24 and 15. So shift, whoops, we went to the end. I hate that. It's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's try that again. Sometimes I pick the wrong shortcut. So once again, 2, 24, 15. Let's just try that again. And I made the same mistake. You gotta love it. Yeah, it gets a bit confusing sometimes. Okay, so because and the reason this happens is because I'm switching between After Effects, Photoshop, and Adobe's Premiere and Audition, and all the different shortcuts confuse you. So it happens quite a bit. So what we'll do is we'll mark an in. Now we want a certain out point, so let's play that and find the point that we want to stop. Bang. So we stop there, like I said, midway through. So what we do is mid-action, as they say. Now we're going to move to 2:29 and 17. I'm not really happy with how zoomed in we are there. So 2:29 and 17. So having a real problem, aren't I? So yeah, I'm getting confused with the down arrow, which is a real shame because it's just, it's different in After Effects, put it that way. So 2:29. What? You've got to be kidding me. So yeah, there's a difference between After Effects and it's really messing with me at the moment. So 2:29, 17, we're going to mark an out point. So what this now does, we've got an in point marked, an out point marked, right? And an in point here will be marked as well, meaning that, let's have a look at the in point. Let's make sure we've got it right. Yeah, we're happy with that. So that's the in point. So then what we'll do is go back to here, go back to the in point, and full stop and double check that we got it right. And the other thing is, another thing that's a technique for editing generally is edit while the action's moving at a live pace rather than frame by frame little creeps. You just sort of let the video kind of play in real time and then kind of pick your edit points that way. So we're happy with that. Let's just look at that again. Okay, I like these little moves as well. I don't mind seeing these little zooms, especially with music video. It's not such a big deal. So you'll find that they actually look pretty cool. They're good little cutaways. So there's that moment there. So what we're going to do, right, I love it. So what we're going to try to do is find it though in real time, right? So I think it's about there. We're going to mark in. We're going to go to 2 minutes 35 and 05. So 2 minutes 35:05. 1, 2, 3. That's our in point. Now we're going to go back to here. We're going to find this second video where we like the out point. Okay, so we're going to go a bit sooner than that because that's a bit lame to stop in that middle weirdness. So we're going to go a little bit earlier. Okay. So we're trying to find that really nice sweet spot. So let's see if we can get it. Okay. While she's ducking down, will be not a bad point. That means it's 2, 37, and 17. So we're going to go to 2, 37, and I finally got used to the keyboard shortcut. 2, 37, and 17. We're going to do out. Go back to our in point. Okay, and looks like we've marked it here properly. Let's just make sure. Yep, we have. Okay, so then we just do the full stop, and let's just double check that that's worked. Okay, so yeah, like I said, do a save, and we'll go to the next point. Okay, we've got to find something a bit sooner if we can. Okay, we found some interesting action there. Looks like we might be here. Let's try to see if we've got anything good there. I think we've got something when we look at that girl that comes through there, right? Okay, her. So we're going to see if we can't get her a little bit sooner. So you notice I don't try to find the scrubs, boom. So I try to find a point naturally as opposed to kind of frame by frame. It's better to sort of see if you can find it while it's playing real time. But let's go 2:45 and 15, 2:45. Let's have a look, 2:45 and 15. So there is our in point. We're going to now find our out point. Now she's in the frame there. She's in the frame as well. Boom, and we're going to come out of there. So let's do 2:51:10. Okay, and then shift forward. That's our out point. Go back to the in point and in point there as well. Go full stop. So let's have a look. So basically, like I said, I'm looking for nice faces and expressions, and moments of action. So when they're sweeping, jumping, leaping, it just seems to be a good time to sort of jump in. Let's see if we can get another good shot. Okay, she looks fantastic. So let's just see if we can't grab her a little bit sooner. Okay, that's a potential in point. Okay, so that's a good point, that one. So we're going to go, our out point is going to be 3 and 11 frames. So we're going to go to 3 minutes and 11 frames. That's our out point. Go back to our in point, which is 2:54:03. case you're wondering, it is a 25 frames per minute video. So let's do that. Looks like we're used to it all now. So let's have a look. Go back a bit. Okay, and the other thing, yeah, like I said earlier, it's a case of finding a cool moment of action to kind of jump around. So I'm keeping an eye on what we showed. We remember this guy. Now we're looking for something a little bit more. So we've got her coming into the shot. So we definitely have something in here to cut to, so let's have a look. So you can see with a multicam edit done like this, how much easier it is. That's a potential in point. Okay. Let's have a look. 3, 08, and 17. Okay, out point. Go back to the in point, and that's 30205. Obviously we're doing shift key with the to bring that across 5 frames at a time. So 30205, we're happy with that. Press the full stop or the period key. Now there's something interesting. Just in case you're wondering where's all this audio coming from, I'm noticing that the actual original camera audio picked up a lot of the sticks and a lot of this noise here, whereas the audio that came from the mixer, which is what you're hearing on this sequence, doesn't pick up any of that, obviously. So you can see the difference. So the downside to this audio is you can't really hear the music, but you can hear the sounds in and amongst the dancers. So we might have to do something with that where we use some of the audio that was originally from the video. But for now, let's have a look. So we'll go back. There's something cool about that. Let's see what we're up to. So in here we're up to 315. In here we're up to 305. So that's something to always remember when you're videoing, is if you think there's going to be some interesting sound in the scene, in this case, what you would do is plant a mic in the middle somewhere if there's no danger of it being picked up, or you mic one of the dancers if you ever can. But it certainly would have been helpful if you had placed a mic somewhere in the scene to pick up some of those sticks being hit and whatnot. So it's just something that I've noticed. Okay, let's just pay attention to where we're at now. We're up to 3, 10, and 15. Now sometimes you get lucky with these little close-ups. They're kind of cool. Okay, just after this moment, there's a moment that I like. Right there. So let's see if I can't get it in real time. Okay, so we'll go in, and that means that we're at 3:20:24. Okay, so we go shift 24, so we're in. Then we go back to here and play the out point. Okay. Oops, I'll undo that, Control Z. The out point is 324.02. Okay. So notice I'm doing the 3-point edit in the sequence itself. So basically marking the in, marking the out, and then going back to the in point. And then of course, the out point is created by the out point here. So that's what's happening. So we press the period key or the full stop. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look. What's next? See, that's a great shot there. So we're going to keep that. Okay, so she comes in out of nowhere. So let's see if we can't get that on again. Mark the in point. Okay, we can jump out of there. So let's find it. The out point looks like it's about 3, and you can see what's happening here. 331.03. So let's go to 331.03. So let's see if we can find a better, right? Out point is there. The in point is 324.23. One, 2, 324.23. That's the in point, and let's put that in. Okay. What we could do is grab that. Let's just go back. Even though it's a little bit out of focus. Okay, let's go back. We're just looking for that time. Okay, so we've got it. So let's see if we can find out point. Okay, so that's our out point is 343.07. Okay, so that's the out point. Go back to here, go back to the in point, and that's 338.23. So 338.33, 23 is the in point. So let's go there. Let's have a look at what that looks like. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, let's see if we can't get that in. That tells me that I should make this shot a little bit longer. So you're better off leaving okay. I like what's happening there. There's this bit of a spin pirouette thing happening in front of the camera. So we'll get that in. Okay, there's something cool about them sort of tapping there. Okay, so we're going to do in about there. Okay, so they're going up, right? So that's a really good time to sort of grab the out point. Okay, so, right, they're just about to go up. So our out point is 353.07. Let's do that. 353.07. Okay, that's the out point. The in point is 348.24. Let's have a look. Okay. Now we've definitely got something in there. So you can see how cool it is with the multicam edit. You wouldn't even consider doing this type of work without the two cameras. Okay, so we're looking for something in here to start it off. Like I said, I like the way the camera zooms and moves, so we'll grab that. Okay, so we've got to try to find an in point now. Okay. All right, so we might go, the out point's a little bit tricky to find. It looks like it's going to be a little bit sooner. Okay, we're going to go about there. So out point is 4419. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that's the out point. The in point is 357.04. In point. Okay, press the full stop and let's have a look. Okay, so now what we're looking for okay, so let's go back. So what we're looking for is someone that's, now we know that something's coming. Okay, so we'll see if we can't get a pirouette happening. Trying to find the point at which we okay, we want to come in sooner than that. Okay, so let's go with 4:10:05. Okay, that's the out point, and the in point is 4:06:06. It's the in point. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, there's something cool happening at that point in time where they're sort of that could be an in point. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, let's try again. Yep, let's see if we can't get that somewhere. So 4:16:13. We're looking for someone to be in front of the shot, but let's just go with 4:21:18. That's the out point. Go back, find the in point, 4:16:13. Perfect, in, full stop. Let's have a look. Okay. So I actually like the way the camera's lost kind of what it's meant to be doing. One of the young videographers that I work with kind of doesn't know what to do there. So, but it actually, right, it looks kind of cool. I know it's being a bit, so there's something interesting about all that. Okay, I love when someone just comes in out of nowhere. So that's what we should be doing. So we'll go with 4:28:17. So what was it? 4:28:17. So that's the out point. Go back to the in point, which is 4:19:11. So it won't be there after all. Let's have a look. Let's try there. 4, 20 and 15. About 423. Okay. Let's go with that in point. Let's have a look at that. Okay, did lose it there. Okay. So loving that. So let's see if we can't get back there. Okay, starts to get interesting about there. Okay, so just as she starts to spin is a perfect time. So 4, 45, 18. Okay, so that's the out point. Go back to the in point, which is 437.04. Perfect. Just double check that. Okay. Okay, so there's a good point there. Bang. Okay, so the out point is 447.12. See if we can make that a bit shorter. And 441.18. Let's see where we get to. Okay, we've got that already in there. Bang. Sitting at 446. See if I find another. Let's go back a bit. Make that the in point. 446.08. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay, so we've got that last bit at the end. So we'll see if we can't get back in there. So we won't be coming in a lot sooner. Right, in. So we definitely go to 4:58:18. Okay, so that's the out point. The in point is 4:54:10. So let's do that. And that should be where it ends. Okay, we're definitely coming out of there. Okay, and that is where I'm going to end that. So we'll do a wrap up there. That's going to come in there. And that transparent video now is done. So we can actually just delete that now. Simply because we don't want to accidentally render it in when we do any color correction, then some rendering, and then we suddenly find that, whoops, we accidentally, you know, kind of rendered the time code into the video, and then you've got to remove it, and then of course you've got to re-render everything. But we're essentially done now. That's the multicam edit. Really good way to do it with Adobe, which is to grab your two clips and essentially choose the first clip. Generally when you're filming, you try to make one video just straight film, and then you have another camera 2 and 3 and whatever else as kind of moving around a bit more or stop starting. But there should be one camera that kind of sits still and is more stable, doesn't move as much, and that was the Panasonic DVX camera that we had. Then we had the Canon 5D with a 50mm. I think they look really good. Whatever lens preference you have, but you know what to do with that. Get in close, get in and move with that. Put it on a steady cam and things, or a gimbal, but try to get some nice smooth close-up shots, expressions and faces. And if you've got a third camera, well, that could be the really wild camera where it's maybe spinning and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, where it really grabs some serious action. But when it comes to doing the multicam, it's so much better to have the 3 cameras, as you can see in here. You know, you can see which one you're grabbing. Now, if I had wanted to grab footage, I could have gone back to that one, but there was no need. I don't see the point in having a blank timeline. So notice it was so much easier to do a multi-camera edit when you've got the main camera just sitting there as the full footage. So just have it sitting there in the first place, so you're not sort of jumping between the two needlessly. You're far better off having a master shot at the bottom that carries across the whole thing, and then you've just click on your B camera and pick it. If you've got a C camera and a D camera, or you know, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, well, by all means you grab those. Excuse me. And then of course, so much easier to edit. Now you could pull these out a little bit, you know, lengthen them up or whatever, but there's no need to sort of ripple edit between and have it all into one line. Now later on, if you really wanted to, you could highlight all of that, you know, Alt and bring it down. So I'll show you what that looks like. You press Alt, push down, and you're done. You've done the one timeline. I'll do Control Z. So that's the easier way to do a multi-camera edit. Hopefully you got an idea of how that works. In case you were wondering though, if we were to do another, let's say a new sequence, the way you would do it is you'd start by picking, well, let's go to here. We let's say we're going to go to the next video now, and I'll show you what I'll be doing later. But essentially, I'll look at this event. This is the children's event. Now I'll look for where they get started. If they're not doing anything, we won't worry about their footage. But once they start doing something, but essentially what it means is that we would find a point where this actually starts, right? Where the children are getting ready. And this is obviously a lot easier to edit this. But what I would do is then I'd put a marker. Let's just see where they actually start so you get an idea of what's going on. Okay, so this is just a simple little song with little children that don't sing too much. They're pretty shy about it all. Boom. So I think that that's where they're going to start singing. So what I do now, just to give you an idea of how I would start the multi-edit here, I'd put a marker. And of course, it's gone in the wrong spot. So let's just Control Z that. What I'll do is I'll unlink because I don't know what's going on, but it seems to be doing it wrong. So there, we do that. Then I can just shift click and actually, let's just click that, mark it. Okay, and then shift click and then link them again. So that's all I did there. In here, we do the same. If I find that the marker is not doing what I want, oh, I see. What I can do there is that's fine because it's going to use these two mark points. But put simply, what I've done is used pluralize to sync these two videos together. So pluralize, what it will do is grab all your video footage from one camera, then all the video footage from the second camera, and then all of the audio track from the Zoom F8 that we had. That's all that's happened there. But put simply, I've created my my marker right there. So when I do a multi-camera edit, what I'm better off doing is grabbing these two clips, right, and going right click and then merge clips, right? And what that allows me to do now is create a new file name with a merge between the video and the audio. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because when you do pluralize, it's one thing for pluralize to sync the audio and then replace the video audio with the new Zoom F8 audio, but it's another thing for you to tell Adobe's Premiere Pro, hey, merge, glue these two clips together. When you do that, what inevitably happens is you end up with clips that when they're merged, I just do this. So you'll see them there, they're merged. Now the cool thing about that is that when you double click the merged clip, it's actually using that audio that's from the recorder merged and glued with the video. So now when it's being played, as you can see, it's actually playing the original audio, or put simply the clean audio from the track recorder. Now in this case it's 5 Atomos Day 2, so if I look at number 5 Atomos Day 2, there it is, that's the children one. As you can see, my marker should be showing. Let's have a look. Yeah, so that was the one that I don't think I used. That's just the kids getting ready. I'm pretty certain they're not singing. This was part 2 of that. No. Okay, that's interesting. It hasn't created the... So 5 Atomos Day 2, 5 Atomos Day 2, and it's 130517, 130517. I've created a merged clip. Well, that tells me that it's probably showing here now. Okay, I'm trying to work out why that's not showing the markers. It should have the markers in here, which is really ironic. So what I'll do this time unlink and place the markers here as well. So now that I've placed these markers here, they should be showing here. What I'll do is I'll clear that. Let's just try something. So I created that file there. I'll drop it into that. Yeah, so there you go. So what that's taught me is, quite ironically, that there's no point creating a merged clip until you've placed the marker, and then when you've placed the marker, will it appear in the merged clip. So the reason why you do that now is because what I would now do is find these two clips separately. So let's find Panasonic. We want to go Panasonic Day 2. Okay, so that's the Panasonic videos here. And we can see it's Panasonic Day 2, and it should be this one. Let's just see if that's what it is. Nope. So it's sorry, it's number 1, so it's this one here. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll double check that one as well. No, so what we'll do is we'll go right click, clear, get rid of that. Now we're going to go right click, merge clips, and we'll just call that 2. Okay, and we'll drop it into Panasonic for now. Actually, we might as well just drop it into multi-source, and there's a reason why we're going to do that. I'll grab the one that was the matching video. As we can see, it's 5 Atomos Day 2. So we'll go to 5 Atomos Day 2 and grab that and throw it into the multicam area. Let's just truncate that to make it simple. Get rid of that for a sec. So it's these two. Most important thing is that marker that we just created, right? Now that marker is the same as these markers here. So now what we can do is we can grab these two clips. Now notice I grab one and then the other. So very important that I grab probably the longer Panasonic video just to double check what's going on. Hopefully we have the end of the song and okay. So the actual video that's longer is the Atomos. So we select that first, right? And then we select the Panasonic, okay? There's a reason for it. The Atomos is the longer video. So we want that as the base video, and then the Panasonic will be the cutaway. What we do is we right click and we're going to go, of course, we're not going to have a opportunity to do multicam because it's the merged clips. Okay, so that's frustrating. What that means then is we have to grab the original clips as well. This is the frustration of Premeire. It doesn't seem to understand some of the things that people do. But anyway, we're going to have to now grab the 5 Atomos Day 2. Throw that into multicam area. And then get rid of that and go the Panasonic Day 2 as well. So one Panasonic Day 2, going to throw that into the multicam area. Okay, get rid of that. And the reason we had to do that was unfortunately because you can't do a multicam with the original, with the merged clips, which is really frustrating, but we've put them together nonetheless. So we're going to grab that one, then we're going to shift click that one. Of course, it's going to grab the one we don't want. I wonder if I can just control click, of course. So right click, create a multicam sequence, and video clip plus name, the endpoints, which should be, no, they're not marked. So that's what I've got to do now, is actually mark the endpoints on these. Oh my Lord. So this is how stupid this can be. It actually hasn't got the endpoints marked. So for some reason, it's not showing the markers. Okay, not really good at all. It's amazing how I've marked the markers. Let's see if it lets me do an endpoint across all of them. Okay, that should be the proper endpoint. What we're looking for is the same moment in time. Okay, good old, complications happening where it should be quite easy to just mark an endpoint and then transfer it and cascade it across. But sadly, the endpoints aren't showing. How pathetic. So it's almost as if, what's going on here? We've marked endpoints and it's not wanting to show. So let's just see if we can't go in. Stupid. So put simply, we're not able to find the endpoints. So now I've got to sit there and go, okay, what's the time code on this video? And find it that way. 1:52:21. And of course, the time code on this video is completely wrong. Unbelievable. So as you can see, something as simple as, adding your markers for some reason on this isn't working at all. It's absolutely horrifying, actually. Yeah, terrible. This is all because these clips are merged, and what I'll do is unlink. Let's just see if I can't do something different. Trying to see if there's any correlation here. 706. Looks like we found something. Looks like it's there. That's your marker and that's your endpoint. So we're looking for this little girl's expression, all these expressions along the lines here. The kids are looking pretty excited. So looks like we've found that in point, and then we've got to do the same thing here. Let's see if I can't. Okay, let's make that the in point. Looks like we've done it finally. So what we do now is we actually go control click, right click, and go create multi-camera. Now we obviously use the in points. That was the whole point of what we just did then. And we're using camera 1, which is the first clip selected, right? So camera 1 correlates with the first clip selected. We're going to go OK. And I like to just drag this sequence Let's have a look. So there you go. So if we play it now. So the purpose of this, believe it or not, is not actually that we're going to use this for our, for anything other than we'll try to find, okay, we might start with this being our first shot or our main camera. So what we'll do now is we'll go here, we'll pick one of these clips, and which is that one, and use this merged clip, which is the audio for both cameras. So what we can do now is go right click, new sequence from clip, okay, drag that to the sequences area, and this one, let's just double check it, there it is. I'll just delete. Well, one of the things I can do is just drag the video back, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to actually delete it, believe it or not, and rename it. So go SEQ, and then go dash, and go, children's song, right? So that's that. Then what I'll do is actually grab the merged clip. So there's a bit of a roundabout way of doing what I was just trying to do, but we can see that this is pretty much the beginning, and we're just going to confirm it. So we just keep going through until, okay, this song keeps going. Okay, so that song just keeps going. So what we're going to do is select track 1, audio 1, get rid of these, and then just go apostrophe or comma, right? So we can see that that's going to be our main track, and we can now do the same technique we used last time. We grab the time code, okay, drag it out to about there. We're going to grab a video effect, which is, I think it's under utility. No, it's not, it's under video. We're going to drag the time code on there. Then it's got random time code, which we don't want. We want to go to effects control. Source track is actually video 1. So now it's kind of cleaned that up. Label text, just to make things easy, we might put a camera on that. And we should be right. The time code should be the same, or time display should be the same as the time code of the, the frame rate of the camera, which was 25. So now what we're going to do, double click that for our multi-camera. So now we can see the beginning is 7:06:06, 7:06:06, but we're only interested in this camera now. Now this is obviously an easy edit in comparison. We just play, and if the camera is doing anything weird, we might jump to a second camera. If we get a little bit bored, we will switch in between the two. And then finally at the very end, because this camera actually drops a little early, we switch to that to be the ending. And we might even drag that out a little bit further as well. Let's just unlink those two. Gotta love the, just unlink it and just drag that music out a little bit further, as you can see. Okay, so when we get to that stage, that's what we'll be doing. So put simply, to set it up again, now we're ready to just drop that in as we need. We'll save all that, and that'll be the next song that we do. But in the meantime, we've got this one done already. This will be now color corrected, which is the next step, and I'll show you how I do that as well. So yeah, we'll do the next video. See you soon.